this next teaching series, we will be learning so much about Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 and even a little bit about Genesis 3. But I believe that Jesus Christ is the Word, and I believe that His body and His blood were given for my forgiveness of sins, and I believe in the power of the Holy Communion. So before we start this teaching series, I would like to share the Holy Communion with you. This we find in 1 Corinthians 11:23. For I received from the Lord that which I also delivered to you, that the Lord Jesus, on the same night in which He was betrayed, took bread. And when He had given thanks, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. He broke it and said, "Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same manner, He also took the cup after supper. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. This cup is the new covenant in my blood. This do as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death till He comes. So now we're going to get started on the teaching that we're going to cover in this series. We'll be going once again to Genesis 1, which we had done in our last teaching. We did the first sentence, and we saw Jesus Christ revealed in so many ways, from the very first word, the very first letter of the very first word, the last letter of the first word, the fourth word. He is revealed in so many ways in this first chapter. But now we're going to go to the beginning of this chapter of the Bible, and we're going to look at it a little bit from the Hebrew perspective and a little bit from the Messianic perspective, so that we can understand the wonderful message of Jesus Christ in this first chapter of Genesis. So we have the Spirit of God is moving over the waters, and then in the very third verse we see God said. God said. If we look at this, we will understand that this makes great relation to the very first chapter of John. We can look at it in the Greek perspective, or we can just look at it where we see, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God, and all things were created through Him, and without Him nothing was made. So we can see Jesus Christ revealed just in this word, Vayomer, and God said, because we see Jesus Christ, He is the Word, and through Him all things were made. As in the very first letter of the Bible, we have that large bet, which is extra large, and all of the letters come out of that one letter, as if everything is coming out of that house, out of that word. Then we see Him revealed once again in John 1 with the very same words, but now in a different language, now in the Greek. And I have that here, and I'm going to read it to you, but they're the same words exactly. It says, "En archi en o logos, kai o logos en pros ton theon, kai theos en o logos." So these words, en archi en o logos, are in the beginning. And for that reason, I believe that we should not have stayed with the name Genesis, but we should have stayed with the name Bereshit, which means in the head of, or in the beginning. Okay, very good. So now we're going to keep on going on, and we're going to see Vayomer Elohim yehi or, vayehi or. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now, in the very first teaching that I had, we used the number 7 quite a bit. We used the number 4 and the total of 28, which is the letters of the first sentence. But now we have this word or, which means light. Light consists of 7 different colors. It is a fullness. It is a completion. As the number 7 is completion, we see this completion in the very first commandment of God, which is, let there be light. And in the next sentence, we see something very interesting. Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov, vayavdel Elohim bein haor uvein hachoshech. God saw that the light was good, and God separated between the light and the darkness. Now good, we have to understand what good means. It means, we can look at it maybe from an engineering perspective. When an engineer designs a piece or a part and he sends it to a factory, and the factory produces that part, they have inspectors that look at the part. And the part will decide, they'll decide if that part falls within the parameters of the measurements, everything that has to be that part. And if the part is considered good, that means it falls in completion or excellency according to the design of that part. And so that part will be useful for its need. That is a good part. If the part in some way falls outside of those parameters, it is not a good part, it's a bad part, and it has to be done away with or remade. And we see that this very first command that God said is, let there be light, and we see light, the completion of 7 colors, it's light, and we see that it is good. It was a completed act. God called to the light day, and to the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, day 1. Now what we're going to see here is a wonderful revelation of Jesus Christ once again through the word of light. We just go to John chapter 1. Now we're going to start at verse 3. It says, all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. We see John working very closely with the very first chapter of Genesis and the revelation of Jesus Christ. Now we're going to go back to the second day of creation. Oh, well first we see that this first day is named. God made a difference between the light and the dark. So there was a time for the light and a time for the darkness. And then God named that. He called it the first day. There was Le'or Yom Le'hachoshech Kara Laila. Laila is evening or night. Vehi Erev, and there was evening. Vayehi Boker, and there was morning. Yom Echad. Now when you look at Yom Echad, which means day 1, this word Echad is a oneness in unity. For we see in the Shema, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. God is Echad. He's one, but he's one in unity. This is a unity of oneness because this one day is unified with all the other days of the first week. It's not named Yom Rishon, which would be the head of days. It is named Yom Echad, as a one with a unity of days. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Rakia betoch hamayim vayehi ma'bedil bein mayim lamayim. God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it separate between water and water. So God made the firmament and separated between the waters which were beneath the firmament and the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. God called the firmament heaven, and there was evening and there was morning, a second day. God never judged this second day as good. God in this first chapter is Elohim, and that is the God of judgment and the God of justice. But here there is no judgment. He never says that it's good. Why? Again, it wasn't a completed work. It was the second day. We're going to finish in this segment, this second day, and we will continue in segment 2 on the third day. God bless you, and I hope to see you in the next segment.